everyone. My name is Phyllis. I'm with Tech Team Keller William. How are you doing today? And we're very excited here because we have Martha, the lender here, that Carl have invited to have an interview with us. And here is Arlene.
Hi guys, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, which time you're watching right now. We're excited to introduce to you and give you a knowledge a little bit about what we're doing, what our team, and of course, we have Martha here to give us her brain and explain it to us more about the lending side. Thank you so much. And Carl?
Hi, I'm Deborah Bailey. I'm the Director of Operations for this group, and so I kind of keep them going and making sure that they meet your needs. And so that's why we've invited Martha today to just really help you with some of the things that we know are holding you back from getting your own home.
Hi there, guys. I'm Carl with Tech Team Keller Williams. We are the best realty group team out there. So when you want to buy a home, please look for us, tacteamzoom.com. We're on all week. Give us a call anytime. We're in the office. We've got virtual assistants. We can help you 24 hours a day. But what we want to do today, folks, is we want to introduce you to one of the best lenders out there. So we're going to introduce Martha Johnson. She's with a lending company. So Martha, tell us who you are.
Sure. My name is Martha Johnson. I am a mortgage banker. I've been in the mortgage industry over 10 years now. I am fully bilingual. A lot of people don't know that because of my last name, but I am fully bilingual in Spanish. And I can help a wide range of borrowers.
Awesome. We're glad to know that. So tell us a little bit more about you.
Sure. So, like I said, I've been in the industry over 10 years. I have a well-rounded experience. It's a combination of being in the major banks, in the branches, and helping that type of borrower. Also being with different mortgage banks and brokerages throughout my career that has given me the opportunity to work with many different challenges, many different borrowers, because each institution has a demographic. Each institution has a client base. I've also taken some trainings in financial planning and wealth management, which has helped me, really fine-tune my approach when it comes to mortgage lending.
That's exciting.
When it comes to mortgage lending, I have an integrated approach when it comes to helping my clients, because I feel that, your loan should fit your overall financial goals, not take away from them. When you sit down and to do a mortgage with me, we're going to have a thorough conversation. That's the first thing we're going to do. We're going to have a thorough conversation, and I'm going to listen to your wants, but most importantly, I want to understand your needs so that I can, tailor a solution and give you some options. And together we can come up with a decision that's better suited for your goals long term, because this is a long-term investment. And the last thing I want is to put you on a mortgage where you won't be able to retire comfortably, you won't be able to send your kids to college, and you won't be able to vacation. So we're going to talk about all that.
So it's kind of a comprehensive approach where you're not only helping them buy a home, but you're also helping them to plan for their future so that they're financially stable when they do get this mortgage. Is that right?
Absolutely. And how this mortgage is going to help you, reach your long-term financial goals. When do you want to retire? Where do you want to retire? Does a 30-year fix really make sense for your goals and your time frame? We're going to talk about all that, because the 30-year fix is not the end-all be-all.
Great. So tell us this, Martha, who's your best customer?
I love all my customers. They're all great. Yeah, they're all great. But, in this transaction, typically, the best customer is the one who likes getting educated and who finds the value in getting educated and who appreciates being guided by a professional. If you are open, if you are open to being guided and you value the professionals that are working for you, with you, in your team, then that's a great customer to work with. That's a great customer to hold their hand and walk them through.
I think that's really important what you said. We were talking last week and Phyllis was saying that, you know, a lot of people who want to sell their own home, it takes them about 2 weeks to realize that it's more to it than just putting a sign out front. And so they do need a professional. And so whereas we know the home buying process can be convoluted at best, you know, when you've got a professional working with you, it makes the pathway a lot more straight, so that you can get from where you are to where you want to be. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And talking specifically about first-time home buyers, you know, this process can be overwhelming for them. You know, between the property and the mortgage process and the legalities and all of that, it can be very overwhelming. But if they trust, you know, and they allow themselves to be guided by professionals, it relieves so much frustration. You know, from my end, you know, I can tell you customers can expect, and my realtor partners as well, can expect constant communication. You know, I set expectations from the beginning. From that first meeting that I have with the client, I sit down, you know, that meeting where I uncover your wants and understand your needs. I sit down and I can determine what challenges we're going to have with the file. And I set expectations from that day. Okay, this is what we can expect. This is what can happen if we do this. You know, and I set that expectation with everyone so that we know down the road when those challenges come up, what we need to overcome.
Great, great. So what do you enjoy most about doing mortgages?
It's a great question. What I enjoy the most about, you know, doing mortgages is the ability to make an impact in people's lives. You know, it's that this work allows me to bring so much value to my customers and allows me, you know, to help them achieve that long-term goal that they've always wanted. One of the biggest purchases in their lives, buying a home. You know, it's working with them hand in hand, you know, and at the end of the transaction when we're at closing, you know, realizing that, hey, we did it. That's a fantastic feeling. And that is the reason why I do it.
We get that. We do. We get that. You know, we tell our customers all the time that we want to give them the Sewell experience. And that means we want to be what they need in this transaction. And so when they think about buying a new home, or when they think about reinvesting in a property, they think about the TAC team. They think about us because we want to give them what they need. You know, you have to help people where they are, not what we think they need, but where they are, and then bring them to where they need to be. And so we glad that our view of how we want to do this and how we want to approach our customers are aligned, so that we're all trying to do the best that we can give the customer. That's what we want to do. We want to give them a great experience.
Yeah, definitely on the same page with that. You know, and I think it comes down to education. I think borrowers can appreciate when you coach them, when you educate them, and when you help them through all the mumbo jumbo out there. You know, because there's a lot of things about the industry out there. It's always been like that. You know, and they get confused. You know, they have Google, they have their friends who have purchased already. You know, they're confused because my friend didn't have to do this, and my uncle had to do that. You know, and I think that's where we come in helping them understand that these transactions are not a cookie cutter transaction. You know, they're not a one size fits all. You know, the transaction or the way the mortgage was done for your relative or your friend, it's not the same way it's going to be done to you, even if you're buying the house next door at the same price in the same location. Different borrowers, different things, different perspectives.
Sure. So let me ask this. What advice do you have for folks who are looking to purchase a home?
If you are a borrower who are still employed and you have your money saved up to buy a property, the time to purchase is now, okay? Do not wait thinking that things are going to get worse and interest rates are going to get lower. Do not be that borrower waiting for that 1% interest rate. The time to purchase is now. Interest rates are at an historical lows. I mean, you hear that everywhere. You know, property prices are also, in an optimal situation for buyers. So if you are on the fence the time to execute is the now. I would not recommend for you to wait. If you are still employed, if you are going to be, you foresee in the near future, you are going to stay in your job and you have your money saved up for your down payment and your closing costs, go ahead and execute now. Call the tax team, get on the phone. Let's get started with your pre-approval and start executing now.
Awesome. Marlene, Phyllis, what questions you ladies have?
I think for me, my question is like right now where I'm always dealing with a first-time home buyer, and the credit score is the one most of the time. How can you help us if the credit score like below what is the best interest on the mortgage, so we can go the transaction smoothly or coach my client to make it make the transaction really smooth with the help of your education, with the help of the for us as realtor, and reach their 45 days closing or less than that?
Is the first thing that we need to do is sit down, pull credit. I need to review the report and see what is the score and why is it so low. Because sometimes it's simple things. Sometimes it's simple things as, I have $1,000 collection, or sometimes it's simple things like I need to reduce some some spending on some cards, and that will skyrocket my score right away. If the issue is historical, then that's different. But if it's simple things, if it's simple fixes that we can tackle right away, then I will tell them to do so. If it's a historical situation and historically they have a bunch of collections and historically they haven't been able to show that they have handled credit properly, then we might put them through a credit counseling agency. I will suggest to go through a credit counseling agency so that they can get that credit up to par, to be able to get a great rate and do their transaction.
Oh, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. How about you,
So
Phyllis?
it depends on the situation of the borrower, really.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a good
amazing. So my question is, I know that there's, everything is based on credit score, and what is is there really a huge difference between a client that have a 600 credit score and a client that have a 700 credit score?
Absolutely. There's a huge difference. Yeah. And the difference is going to be in the interest rate. And one thing that I want to put out there are different things that affect the rate. It's not just a credit score. The type of property that you buy affects the rate. The loan program that you're using affects the rate. Your down payment affects the rate. That you are paying your closing costs out of pocket or including them in the loan affects the rate. That you are using a community second affects the rate. So it's not just the credit score, also your credit history affects the rate. If historically you show some signs that you haven't handled credit properly, that also affects the rate. So it's not just the credit score.
Awesome. That's amazing to know, because I think that's a lot of client buyers have that question.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Absolutely. And it's one thing I do for some home buyer seminars, and I spend a lot of time talking about this, and the best example the best visual I can give to clients is, take a plastic bag. The plastic bag is empty. Okay. Put in a box of chocolates, put in a bottle of water, put in a baseball, put in different things. Those are and the bag starts filling up and it starts expanding, it starts getting bigger. That's what happens to your credit, to your interest rate. Okay. You start with a base rate. Mm-hmm. And as the transaction progresses and we see the type of property that you're buying, where it's located, your down payments, your loan program, we start putting all of those things in the bag, and all of those things affect the rate. All of a sudden you have a very heavy bag, meaning you have a very high interest rate. So all of those things affect the rate, and that's the best visual I can give to people.
That's awesome. I have one more question for you. What is the main difference between down payment assistance and if somebody needs a closing cost and we just kind of increase the price of the home and then get a closing cost at the end? It's there.
Yeah. Yeah, your down payment assistance loans, those are loans to help you specifically with that, with your down payment. You know, you could get a grant or you could get another type of loan that you can use also for closing costs. But some of these loans or some of these grants are used specifically for down payment. The other thing that you mentioned, that's we normally like to call it a seller's concession, where we're including the closing costs in the loan if the value of the property allows us to.
But what is there any differences between the two approaches, in in the sense of interest rate, or what documentation they need? I know that obviously certain people doesn't qualify for down payment, but they do need the down payment assistance, the closing costs done. So
yeah, it definitely affects your rate. If you're getting a community second for down payment assistance, it definitely affects your rate. If you're doing a seller's concession, it definitely affects your rate. And yes, we do need extra documentation if you are going for that community second. You got to take classes, you got to take courses, you got to get a certificate of completion, you got to bring that into the lender. You also need to get the approval for the amount of money that they are willing to give, and you have to bring that into the lender also so that we can factor it into the loan.
Gotcha. What about
and it also depends if it also depends on if it's a grant or if it's a loan, and that also affects the interest rate. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Martha, I have a question. I know it depends on the credit history and everything you were talking about, but if they did have to go into credit counseling, what are we talking? Like 3 months, 6 months, a year? How long before they typically are okay to get a home?
Already, yeah. It depends on their credit history and how bad it is and how much we need to clean up. If you're talking about someone who historically hasn't shown any proof in their history that they've been able to manage credit properly, then that person needs to reestablish a good credit history. And that takes some time, because as lenders, we go by history. We lend by history. When we look at a credit report, it's not so much the score, it's historically, have you shown that you can handle debt? Do you have any large debt? Do you have any long-term debt in your report that you have handled successfully? That is what we go by.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Martha, do you have some credit repair companies that you've used and know work well?
I do. Off the top of my head, I don't have the contact info, but yes, I do have companies that I work with. Mm-hmm.
Right. So if we bring some credit challenged people there, you'll know where to direct them and how to move them forward.
Yeah, absolutely. First, I'll view their credit report and see if it's something simple that we can handle between us. If it's something like that, like let's reduce this debt, let's pay off this collection, let's take, and we will do a whole calculation. Can we take some of the money that you have saved for down payment and closing costs and pay some of this off? And are you still going to have money left to close the transaction? We will calculate all of that and see if it's something that we can handle here. If not, I will send them out.
Okay, great. So, Martha, tell us why a lender would want to choose you to be their lending company, or a buyer would want to choose you to be their lending company versus ABC company.
Mm-hmm, sure. I bring value to the transaction by sitting down with you and, like I said before, really understanding your needs and showing you options so that you and I together can tailor a plan and a solution that fits you. When you sit down with me, I'm not immediately taking a 1003 that's a loan application, and sticking you into a 30-year fixed, or, I'm not getting into rate conversations. No. First, we're talking. First, we are getting to know each other. First, I want to learn what you want. I want to understand your needs. I'm going to show you different program options. I'm going to explain to you why I'm recommending these options. And then together, with your goals in mind, we're going to choose the best option for you. Another thing that you can expect from me is constant communication. Typically, I will send out a communication. It's typically via email to all of the parties involved in the transaction as to how we have progressed that week on the loan. Are we out of underwriting? Do we have conditions? Do we have a conditional approval? Do we need additional documents? Am I waiting for the borrower? Are we ready to go to the next phase? I will let everyone know that's involved in the transaction, the realtors, the borrower, or anybody else, what has happened with that loan that week. So I will not go ghost for weeks and weeks on a loan, and you know, people are chasing me to find out what's going on with their file. I don't work that way. I'm very proactive when it comes to communication. You know, I'm also very proactive when it comes to setting expectations. You know, if the loan is on the fence, if the loan is iffy, if there are a lot of things going on with the file, I will let you know. You know, I will let you know how we're going to fix it. I will let you know we're going to give it a try. Underwriting is going to come back with a list of conditions. I will let you know, and I will prepare you that we're going to have a second round of documents that we're going to need from the borrower.
Awesome. That's
That's
awesome.
great.
Another question for you, I think I need to ask is, how about if my client have a student loan? How you handle that, you know, to
Student loans, you said?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there's a new Fannie Mae guideline right now that's very good. It states that if the borrower has a student loan with a deferred payment, we only need to use 1% for qualifying them. That's very little.
Right.
You know, however, if they have a student loans with actual payments that they're paying back on a monthly basis, then we need to qualify them with the payments. That's a federal guideline. There's no way around that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay,
Nice.
good. Well, guys, I think we're just about out of time. Do we have any other questions for Martha before we close this interview?
No, I think it's great. And I think that, you know, if we have buyers, we'll definitely send it to Martha so that, you know, they will be in good hands.
Absolutely. You know, and another thing that I want to leave buyers or clients, potential clients with is that, you know, come into the transaction understanding that you'll be working in a team environment. You know, all of the people in this call and the other ones that are going to be joining this transaction as we move forward are working to get this deal closed for you. So understand that. We don't work against you, we work with you.
Yep, absolutely.
Yes. That's awesome.
Well, Martha, we thank you for your time. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to meet with us and to have this interview with us. We look forward to a long-term partnership with you and your organization. The TAC team is here to stay. We're here to sell homes and list homes. And so we need partners like you who are going to help us service our customers to the highest level that we can serve them. So we thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me today. You know, it's been great talking to you. And if you guys have any questions or you need anything, I'm only a phone call away.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.